hold the camera rather close. And so I just thought, okay, right, I'll just stay like this. So you can follow my speech. I just want to make a note to speak about the importance of non-identification. Sorry, I'm just traveling right now. I'm here before there's like a shop here. I'm in the street right now. I just thought, oh, this is important. So if there's anything happening, you have that information. Just to keep that in mind, because when you practice, if anything happens to me, I can't post anymore. Then I can just be present for you that way, so you have that information. And the important part of the practice is the non-identification with any phenomenon that occurs, and be always aware in a, I would say, relaxed way, if that's possible. Finding the middle way between relaxation and strength, relaxation and, well, not really tension, but maybe you know what I mean. This is practiced a lot in meditation, actually. I practice some Zen meditation. That is the main focus, to develop that kind of vigilance. And I reckon it can also be done in other ways, but that can help too. And also just to make the decision. It's part of a natural capacity to have that vigilance without being stressed, just being aware, staying aware of the mental processes. And this becomes very important when you start to imagine, when you start to relate to your thoughts. So if you have thoughts that you become aware of in your mind, then you can actually start a conversation with the thoughts like that. Well, you don't really, not really. You don't really communicate with them, but you can imagine that conversation, and there is actually something that you can observe and witness, and you can basically see, okay, there's a thought about someone, and it's important, if you see that thought, the thought is not that person, right? It's a thought that looks like that person. That's important. So you just say, okay, thought looks like that person, right? Okay. And then you could say, okay, what's the evidence that that thought is the person? I don't really know if it's possible to really have that kind of telecommunication or whatever. Is it? Yeah, what's that called? Telepathie in German. I don't know how to pronounce that in English. What that exactly is in English, but maybe you know what I'm saying. So remote communication via the mind. I don't know if that's possible. Maybe to some degree, or I don't really know. But the important thing is to not identify with that experience and just say, okay, what I see. It's good also to just name what you see. So what do you see? What do you see in the thought realm? And can you always differentiate that from the material realm? So material realm is where I'm here right now. Material realm, and then thoughts are just in the mind, and there's also emotion. And can I differentiate that at all times? Because sometimes that can become rather hard. It's simple, but it's not easy all the time. At some point, that may become easier all the time. But for me, it's a constant work, or has been so far. And what else is important? There's shopping. I don't know if that's exactly aesthetic enough. I hope it's okay that it's supposed to be shopping. But it just seemed very important to me. Maybe I need to repost that particular video later. What else is there? Yeah, so if you see the thoughts, you can basically ask any question about the thought. You could say, if you see a thought when you meditate, this is for people who are a little bit more advanced meditating. It's not going to take me very long usually. I would say to not identify with the thoughts and see them passing by. As soon as you're able to do that, you can actually start to ask questions about thoughts, and if you want to change their appearance, you can ask if that thought would be a tree, which one would be, and first as it comes up, and then you put your focus on that tree, you put your focus there instead on the regular thought, and then you can ask questions about the tree. So where, what does the tree need to be well? Where's the tree? What does the tree tell me about my life? And then how can are there any problems? And then you can think about the thoughts, like, well, are there any problems about the thought is somehow in some way deficient, and where does that show on the tree? And then what would the tree need to heal? And then for my life, what does that mean? For the thought, what does it mean? I mean, that sounds rather complex, but it's actually for me, it did work. Just bring it on to another level, asking also if that thought would be an animal, if that thought would be a house, if that thought would be a car, if that thought would be some imaginary being from the fantasy world, if that thought would be a helper, if that thought would be, you could also ask if it would be an angel, and just ask, and then also what you can do. So I can say, okay, this situation now, if I have now this slight anxiety to do something wrong, like to just say something that is not appropriate, because I have some of the stuff that I teach here from other people. Like I was inspired, so I think, oh, is that actually their content now? And I don't really know. Well, it's a very old practice, so I don't really think so. And there's that, oh dear, I don't really know. I might need to ask. I think it's fine. I think that's really fine. But I can say, okay, so if that concern would be an angel that is really helpful for me now to help, who is that? Okay. Oh, I even see an image of an angel. Sometimes it can be you don't get directly an image of an angel, but I got an image. And then I can ask stuff about. I can see, okay, how do I feel now in the presence of that angel? Okay. And then I can see the different feelings. And that's important. I could either now work with the feelings until I have clear the feelings, ask questions about feelings. What's good to do? Man, that becomes a long talk now. Yeah, so I feel a light feeling in the heart, and then the rest seems not that light. So I can say, that light, who is that light? Okay. And who's that non-light there? That's not that light, that's not that sort of bright. Who is that? Okay. And then I mean, I can immediately address myself to. I usually start with the suffering, so that is clear. I can say, there's someone. It's actually like me, a long time ago, and I can just address myself. It's like the first image that comes up. I identify that as me. Oh yeah, I see that as me. I'm not saying this is me. I'm just saying what I see is it looks like me. So I just say, okay, who are you? What's your name? What do you want to tell me? Okay. And if you look at it constantly, that's always a good question. As I listened, when there came an answer, there was something to. I think it's good to mention that. So there was something with. I was a child and I was thinking, okay, we shall love God with heart, soul, and mind, right? And I was thinking that then my lungs, for example, were not that important. But do you know why you started thinking that? Oh, so that other people don't think I'm getting too scared. But how did you then? Too strong, too strong. How did you then conclude that, or how does that help? Okay. So I didn't really know. I didn't really know. I just felt, okay, if I feel that in my heart, what did you feel in your heart? That light, the light in my heart. Then the others don't see it. And if I feel it in my muscles, I might become too strong. It was not what I consciously decided. Yeah, it was not a conscious decision. So it was just a reaction to a situation. Right? And so that creates a connection to the sentence. And then I can meditate on that. I hope it's and I think it's quite normal to have those beliefs. It's not like I'm not having like severe problems there right now, but there seems to be something, for example, the lungs or the liver and those areas like there, and the heart is more like here, it's more light. Yeah, and the heart for me was the chest, so feeling that in the chest was the heart area. It's interesting that I didn't think of the physical heart. I can ask, if you would ask, how come you didn't even see the physical heart as relevant? They put their hands on their hearts, and then it's the area. So that's where I was seeing. Okay, fine, I'm safe there to have that sense of strength there. Okay, and how do you see it now? It's not necessary anymore. So I can basically just acknowledge that. Oh yeah, so I can just acknowledge that. Oh yeah, I'm now here. It's not necessary to react like this. It's just an unconscious. It was just an unconscious moment. This is not like what I really consciously believe. There's a difference, and there's when we grow up. And how old am I there? It's 3 or 4. So I'm just hear something, and then there is that inner reaction to it, and then that might just lead to a knowledge about a situation, so it's a certain situation, and then my mind searches for, oh, what have I learned before? That situation, and brings that about, right? And now the angel, what kind of angel do you have seen? And now that I worked on this, I asked again a very helpful angel. Oh, it's not the same, but it feels different. Right? That if that feeling now here, so that light feeling, would be a very helpful angel that we Okay, what do you want to say now? And what are you going to tell me? The angel is still imagination, so I'm just asking for an angel. I need to see if that's imagination. I think if you really perceive a strong presence, that's an indicator that something is important. I don't really know, like, if you have an appearance of an angel, which could be possibly the case, then did I have that? Yeah, yeah, in some sense. But it's the if you feel if you have that, you feel that, and you listen to them, and what they say makes sense, and it's important to stay alert there. And I would not recommend to just be blindly trusting. And I don't really know with angels. I don't want to say like I've really met an angel. I don't really know that what they imply and what people think who I am and what I need to convey as a message, or if I should be like a channel for angels. I would still stay with the that I stay with the imagination. That this sort of starts to become rather sort of transcendental. The important part is obviously to stay aware of what do I actually see when I practice. Becoming aware of the fine matters, not the material. What do I actually see? Is it just because there is an appearance that looks like I have learned angels look that I believe that appearance and everything appears so good? How do I feel when the appearance is there? What's the context? So I'm here now beside the street. I'm traveling. I have that impression. I want to share this now. Does it make sense now to believe the angel? I need to say sometimes I'm not that thorough. But I do work on that, and I listen. Sometimes I just listen and say, "Oh, cool, yeah, you could now just go and eat a sandwich." Oh, yeah, eat a sandwich. That's nice. But I don't really know if that is really the best way to go. Sometimes I don't think about the sandwich. Like, oh, cool, I like to have a sandwich now. But anyway, but usually I do question that on the way to buying a sandwich. But of course, it requires a certain practice, and I can revise that over time. And now I can ask the first angel I saw, what do you want to tell me now? Oh, okay, recognized that as the last angel that I was calling for. So I can basically also go towards a certain kind of presence and then feeling and then ask, oh, if that would be an angel. And then I can speak to the angel, say, angel, what do you say now? The those of God are like the angels. And what does that mean? The beings of light are not restricted to this realm. Right. Yes. And how does that help, Mel? Oh, okay. You will tell them. You don't need to tell them. Okay. Well, that actually does also make sense. Yes. So, and what do you recommend that I do now? Oh, okay. Telling it with the falling asleep story. I think that makes sense. I do think that makes sense. So if you travel, so there's oh yeah. So there's the that as a last point. Um, we have thoughts, right? So there's a thought and there's content, verbal content of thoughts, and there are images, right? We see that, and then there is a feeling to that. Well, we might feel that, but it might just be present. And then there is the context of the situation, and it's good always with the thought and feeling to be aware of, okay, where am I? What's my body posture right now? How do I feel? What thoughts are present? And then to go through that and see all of it, not just an aspect. So if I, for example, if I travel and I feel tired and I think, oh, this is a nice place to just rest for a while, close my eyes, right? This is not enough necessarily to actually estimate if the situation is appropriate for me to actually rest and risk falling asleep, right? Because traveling sometimes can be such that it's better not to fall asleep in a certain place. And so yes, indeed. I fell asleep in a place and it was very dangerous, and I still have some questions about that and all of this. And so I have now learned, okay, I need to actually consider the setting I'm in and the context in which I am. So right now I'm making this video and I'm asking myself now, okay, I have this intuition. I'm feeling, oh yes, this actually feels appropriate. I want to share that video, but now as I make the video, I think, okay, is it actually really appropriate? I didn't ask so many questions about it. I just had that feeling, that trust. So actually I could work on this. So if that feeling that I had, that inspiration would be an angel, that's really helpful for me now. Who is that? Okay. And you can please talk with me. Okay. Well, there's some. I didn't really get that. Anyway, what did you really want to say with this? Oh, it's angel language. Well, anyway, yeah. I mean, I would really careful with that. I would just say, listen to everything. Everything comes up in the mind, and see it as a dream. So you have a dream, and there is an appearance, and then interpret that. And you don't say, oh yeah, sure, that's an angel. Understood, and now believe anything that being says. No, I go back to the context and say, okay, well, anyway, I've seen that. And this might just be my own imagination. I might just be having a kind of daydream. And this can be very helpful for me to navigate, but it can also be a challenge. And if they say something, it doesn't mean it happens. And the same is true if this is, for example, if I see a thought, and it looks like that's my sibling, right? So there is a sibling of mine, and sibling says something. And then I may believe, oh yeah, that's actually what's happening. So it says something about how things are going somewhere. And I think, oh yeah, sure, that's how it is. But then that might be wrong. That might be part of my own imagination, and that might need to then go back into the memory and say, okay, how did that happen that I have these thoughts now? Is this really somebody else, or is this just my thinking habit? Is this just my way to dream? And well, this needs to be a whole science. I mean, this is I don't feel very good at this right now. I hope I don't give any wrong advice. No, I'm just saying, be careful and look at it all, and take a step back and see to interpret it and say, okay, what do I see? Okay, there's the sibling, and can I make sure? Okay, is that really? Can I see the face? Can I see? Okay, is that really a sibling? Is it just like some sort of other kind of person? And then, if so, what what is what is present right now? What is being said? And does it make sense? And then also checking, say, okay, when did I first experience such a kind of thought as that? And then go back to the memory, say, okay, and how, like, say, okay, when did I first experience thought like that, like I'm talking about now, I'm having this feeling, and I'm feeling that I'm not very comfortable right now, so I need to hold on. And then I first experienced a feeling like this right now. Okay. And who am I experiencing that situation is a very good question. And then talking with the answer and just saying, okay, does that feel like that's me? Am I identified with that? Okay, it's me. So I'm just saying, how are you doing in that situation? How do you see the situation consciously? What do you want to tell me now? And then work through that. It might sound rather abstract. I mean, that's a rather abstract part, but it's a really helpful part. Like, this is really helpful to not go into the memory and say, okay, I'm there, because that might be traumatizing. You say, oh no, I'm actually here. Like, I'm not in the memory. I'm here. So I can just say, okay, who am I perceiving that situation? And then the answer comes. And then I can talk to that aspect, to that I. And this is still a dream, and this is why I can do this, because it's part of my imagination. My imagination can be different persons, and I can just be the witness of all that happens here right now, and see the memory. And important also is that memories are not always exactly how they were. And even if I ask, so for example, I could say, what do I see in the memory with my eyes? What do I hear with my ears? And how do I feel? What's my body posture in that memory? And then I can just see, okay, how is that there? Okay. You're not perceiving it. And how are you doing? Oh, okay. So first I got a memory that was rather disturbing. But then I was saying this, what do I see with my eyes? What do I hear with my ears? And then going to body awareness and saying, what's my body posture? How do I feel? Right? And then it actually was just me getting up, and I was late for breakfast, and I needed to go to school. And how does that refer? It's even good breakfast. I was like, yeah. Anyway, then, but how does that refer to the moment now? The context. Okay, and what is the context now for me? Oh, teaching other people. All right. Okay, yeah, I'm teaching other people. Okay. So I can understand my own behavior, but now I sort of lost track of the whole situation. I would need to now reconsider where I was with the context, right? I was talking about context. So I can just go through all the different aspects of my mental experience and see how is that connected to my sibling now. I'm thinking about the sibling because my sibling was around. Okay, so that's the memory, right? So this is how the memory is. And it was just like I was sleeping, right? And I was late. And then I needed to come and have breakfast. And that was annoying. I wanted to sleep. And so there was something that was unresolved, but it seems to be okay. And it's important not to be identified with the first memory that comes up. That's important. And actually also not to be identified with what that results of me asking, okay, what do I see in that situation with my eyes, my physical eyes, and my ears, and how's my body posture like that? Even that can be not exactly what happened. It can just be what I've learned to perceive when I say what I see with my eyes, what I see here with my ears. And I can do practices that I say, for example, now what do I see with my eyes here now? Good. Yeah, so I see what's here, but I also see thoughts. And then I can train that and say, can I differentiate the thought here, in this moment, from the material reality? Can I differentiate that? What is the material reality here? What's the thought? And then can I do that in the thought? In the memory. Not thought also. But in the memory, which is the thought. And can I then find out what is more towards what really happened, even though I really don't know if memories truly are a dream. So they are an expression of how you resonate with the past rather than what exactly happened. That is something that other people need to figure out. I never had that final result on a memory. I can always change the question mode. I can always use another word, so I can say what is really happening in that moment. I get another answer. Then I say what is truly happening. I get another answer. And then also with the if I go back now that I've worked this out here, what is really happening in the situation? I get an answer. Then I go back, what is truly happening? And because the word truly is connected to another associated process, maybe I get another result. But that now sounds very complex. Please make it a science of memory. I think we need that right now. And this is basically a start. And if you're in a situation here, just say, okay, where am I? Like, is the place a safe place to stay? Is that a safe place? And is the feeling actually making sense of the situation? Is the thought making sense? And then there can be a way to become aware. And it's also important that if you find answers in the with the practice, it doesn't necessarily mean that you have basically healed from being, for example, overly tired and then just feeling, oh yeah, it's so nice to sleep here now, and then falling asleep. It might just be that you will not have cured that, and this is very important. But this might just come back, even if you found an answer and say, oh cool, yeah, that's exactly the reason why I am falling asleep sometimes, and when I actually afterwards I didn't really want to fall asleep. And it can be for other problems. It's more that you start to have an understanding, and you can develop compassion for yourself, and you see your inner beliefs for the reasons and how you resonate with the causes, and you can find the mental causes for it, which is then the basis for reshaping thought pattern and the emotional pattern. And it's not necessarily that which you really need. You may need to cure that. You may need to do something else. Also, this is just a support, so you can travel with other people if you find people you feel. Well, that's me. That's what I can do. I can just make sure. Yeah, that would be something that I could say. Is it really necessary to travel like this, or is it better to do something else? Do I feel strong enough to travel like this, or can I travel with a group? Can I go and find other ways of healing? Can I join people who have experience without those problems, who can teach me some techniques to really manage that? Because the thoughts are built on moment by moment by moment, and this is really a long-term process. And if you have a habit, so if you develop something like me, falling asleep somewhere, and this has been with you until the age of 30, then by just finding one moment that is identified as a cause is maybe not that which heals the whole spectrum of the habit. It might just be a support for that, and it might also, and especially it develops the possibility to actually relax about the situation and not to be disturbed, and to have some knowledge about the causes, which then is really helpful for the mind to actually developing a sense of okay, from here on I find solutions that make sense, right? From here on I have now more information, now I can find better solutions, and now I can think about, okay, how can I protect myself better, like this is how I see that, and there's a greater relaxation, and there's not that stress of an unresolved topic. There is more information, but it's not all of it. And it's also good to not be only in the mind. For some people, certainly, it's also good to search for other ways to cure our trauma, or to cure our unconsciousness, to cure our bad habits. And yeah, this is really important. That you don't just go with this and say, oh, cool, now I have a key, and now I just practice that 5 times, and then I resolved it, I found answers, I don't get identified, and then I'm free. And from that kind of habit, from that falling asleep, this is probably, maybe for you it works, I don't know, but for me it was not like this directly. Anything else? No, I think I can leave it with this now. Yeah, I can ask the angel again. What do you say? It's good. Applause. There's sort of clapping over there. Oh, that's so nice. And then, but it's not all nice. We need to have a chat. What's happening? What are you trying to say? Yeah, stay aware of the here and now. That's what I'm saying. Like, don't get identified with the thought. And the old is very important for the memory. So if you have disturbing memories, just know that you can stay here. With more and more training, you can stay here in this moment. Maybe you better not go just back just yet to the memories. Like, maybe say, stay out of the memories. Don't need to know about that right now. Maybe I can just work with thinking about a tree, thinking about a lake. Oh, if that problem would be a lake. Okay, and then which lake is it? And where do I get results that I can work with? And that could be good. So you could maybe ask, what am I used to thinking about? So if you are good with machines, you could maybe, I didn't do that, but you could imagine a machine. What I did do is thinking in terms of songs. So sometimes I thought, oh, if that would be a song, and then what doesn't work in the song for me there? Or how does that express in that art, and that painting could also work? I haven't done that much. It worked very well for me with the plants and the animals, and yeah, and thinking a house is good. A house is good because we're around houses a lot, so that's good. And everybody knows a tree, so we do know that, and can think about that. And also, it's if we grow up, we tend to learn to refer to trees, and we tend to learn the names of all the animals. And there's like, oh, there's a book, and we learn, okay, there's the sheep, and then the sheep could even say something in the book, and then the sheep talks with the duck or something. And this is how we learn to think.
Hello.
Oh, thanks. That's so kind. Thank you. Oh, they just helped me. And yeah, and this is how we learn to think. So we go back to that learning stage that we have at some point, maybe even left behind, because we need to focus on other stuff. And we didn't think about in terms of trees, and didn't think, oh, that problem. Can't I think of that problem or that emotion as being a tree, and then just seeing, okay, how does that show up? And that's a very simple way, and it's how we learn in childhood to communicate based on images and based on imagination, and we can basically use that tool again, or that strength again, to work with the thoughts and continue work that we have changed our views and have maybe said, okay, we'll have to focus on. I was learning playing the guitar, so I put my focus a lot on playing the guitar. But at some point, I might just think, okay, I might just take it to trees again, flowers, and see if I can find solutions on that level. Yeah, that's about it. I don't know. I might post that video. I hope it's okay. And so you have that now, and I think that's really important. And then I don't know if this is okay because they're also standing right here talking. I think you can't really constantly listen. But I need to know. Yeah, I need to know. Give it a break, and if you have any questions, just write to me. And I think you have now some good instructions on possible solutions and mistakes, and ways to find a good practice for you.